I was in grad school, so I was working with an advisor and I was supposed to be writing a different book. And I came to the advisor and I was like, I can't write this other book. I have to write this fantasy book.
Welcome to Narratives and Nightcaps, Books, Beverages, and Author Conversations. I'm Bree, always ready to dive into new fantasy worlds and take a step back in time.
I'm Megan, part critic, always team physical copy, and forever chasing good thrillers and a great plot twist.
I'm Emily, your resident mood reader who thrives on chaos questions and lively book chats.
And I'm Jordan, equal parts heart, humor, and high-functioning caffeine addict. I come with coffee in hand, wine on standby, and a Gilmore Girls quote for every occasion.
Cheers!
Cheers!
Welcome back to Narratives and Nightcaps. A new world was just released, transporting readers to a place with deadly magic, intriguing mystery, and a witch hunt. Author Lindsey Olsson has long, quote, searched for magic in the mundane, and today she joins the show to chat about her debut romantasy, To Drown a Witch. Hi, Lindsey.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Of course. Thanks for being here. How are you? And congratulations on the release of your debut. That's so exciting.
Thank you. Yeah, I've been really excited about it, and all of my friends and family have been super supportive, so it's really nice to have that.
Was it all excitement? Does it also feel like a bit of relief? What are the emotions that come with your debut going out into the world?
Yeah. There's definitely some relief in that, and simply because it's out there now, it's totally out of my hands. It now belongs to everybody who chooses to read it. So that's exciting for sure. And yes, a little bit of relief in that part too. But it's also still surreal to me. I mean, it's over a week later, but it still doesn't quite feel like this has happened to me yet. I'm still waiting for it to just like hit me full on.
I can imagine. What was it like that? Because I've seen you go to a couple of bookstores and stuff and see your book. What was it like that first time that you saw To Drown a Witch on the bookshelves?
It, again, it was surreal. Like it was awesome, and that's what I've always wanted. I used to actually work at Barnes& and Noble, and every now and then I would walk the young adult section and be like, okay, one day my book will be there between these authors. Um,
That's
so
amazing.
yeah, so it's a lot of fun in that way, but it was, again, it was weird. Like it was walking up to it, it was like, oh, I just pulled a regular book off the shelf. It didn't quite feel like my book, so.
I'm so excited for you. That's so cool that you used to walk the shelves as you worked there and think about that. And now here you are, like just a full circle moment. Very, very neat. Well, before we go much further, I would love to know what you have paired for your book for this episode. What is your nightcap today?
Sure. So with me right now, I have a cup of tea, in one of my favorite mugs here. It says, Let's Be Mermaids.
Oh, I love it.
I'm a little obsessed with mermaids. I haven't written a story about mermaids yet, but maybe down the line. But yeah, the tea I have is called Chamomile Nights. It's like chamomile with a bit of mint in it, and I really love it. It's very soothing. I usually have it at night, obviously. Um, but today's a special occasion. And I wouldn't say it necessarily pairs with the book, because I would say nights in To Drown a Witch are very exciting, and this is very calming, so maybe to offset that.
A little
But
bit of balance.
yeah, exactly.
I like that though. I am very much on a tea journey right now, so
Mhm.
I will have to give this one a try. Last night, we are all of our hosts were really, really fortunate to receive gifted tea from Plum Deluxe recently, and they have one literally called the Nightcap, and
Oh,
it is not your traditional alcoholic nightcap, of course. It is like a natural tea to help you sleep. And as I am someone that has a very hard time sleeping, so the second they told us that that was one of the teas, I thought, well, that's exactly what I need. So it sounds kind of similar to what you're trying, but maybe I need to work in both. But their teas have been a lot of fun. I need to email them because I'm convinced they're gonna make me a tea drinker. I've always just kind of tested some and been it's been really hit or miss, but the ones they sent us, in one in particular, I think it's literally called the Bookshop Blend, and it's unbelievable. It's so good. I've had it every day.
I will have to check that out. That sounds good.
Highly recommend if you like teas. Well, I'll have to try yours too, because that sounds like a nice wind down while you're reading and
Right.
going to bed too, and a little bit of balance for all of the excitement in To Drown a Witch. Well, we have to talk more about it, but first, I would love to know what is one book that you will always recommend as an author and a former bookshop employee?
Mm-hmm. Okay. I think I have to say the book that I will absolutely always recommend is The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue. I need to reread it. I have only read it once and it surprises the hell out of me, honestly. But I absolutely adored that book. And just from a reader's perspective and from a writer's perspective, because it felt like such a well-rounded story and it's not often that I cry in books, actually. But this one definitely made me cry, and it was everything I wanted for that story.
You gave me chills. That is one of my all-time favorite books too. I've only read it twice, and
That's one with
that's
me.
but that also it seems like one of those ones that I should say I've read it, 100 times to people.
Yeah.
Um, but it was just so powerful and moving, and you said it perfectly. It was everything that you could have wanted for that story. That's right. I will say I recommend that one pretty frequently to people. I actually have one person in mind that I'm like, I know they just bought it because I said you have to read that book. It's it's such a good one to me. It's timeless. It will be there forever. And I'm
Yeah,
such a fan of that story. I'm such a fan of E. Schwab too. What
likewise.
about something recently? What have you been reading?
Recently, let me think. I am a bit of a slow reader, to be honest, so I don't read as many books as I would like every year. But one book I read recently was Curious Tides, by, I'm totally gonna butcher their name, Pascal Lascelles, I think.
Okay.
But that's a young adult fantasy as well. And I was just blown away by it. I loved the writing style and the detail, and the magic system is all connected to the cycles of the moon. Um, and it was a pure joy to read that novel. And it was also pretty dark too, which
Okay.
I enjoyed as well. So,
Uh, that doesn't surprise me now, having read your book as well. Um, but okay, I need to look that one up because that sounds like one that I would really really enjoy. So I'm gonna put that on the list as soon as we wrap up here too. Well, on that note, I was curious, like, because I hear both sides from writers a lot of times. Some that say they rarely read in their genre, or when they do, it's like definitely not when they're writing their genre. But what are you? Do you like always read kind of the YA fantasy or fantasy books, or when you're in the throes of writing, do you have to like steer clear of it?
I would say I'm very much a mood reader. It's like, what am I yearning for in a story? And a lot of times that is fantasy, romance, or YA fantasy. Sometimes it's just contemporary romance as well. But I don't necessarily steer clear of fantasy when I'm writing fantasy. What I will say is I steer clear of anything that sounds similar to what I'm writing. So like with To Drown a Witch, I was probably avoiding witchy books. I had also read plenty of witchy books before starting To Drown a Witch, so I wasn't worried about that. But yeah, I would just kind of steer clear of more specific topics rather than the actual genre.
That makes sense. Oh, one thing you're saying about being a slow reader too.
Hmm.
I think that there's something kind of beautiful about that. Like I recognize that I have to read quickly for what we do. But there are times that I do think about it and I'm like, oh, but this is one that I need to sit with or take it slowly. I mean, The Invisible Life of Addie LaRue too. I think that that's one of the reasons I did go back and read it was because I thought I really need to appreciate this a little bit more. And we were going to talk about it for the podcast, so I had multiple motives for all of that. But I think that that's like, I think it's a nice thing. I don't know. I guess as someone who's frequently on the Bookstagram space too, it feels like we unintentionally encourage people to like have as many books read as possible per year. And I don't feel like there should be this threshold that anyone has to meet. I think going at your own pace is really nice and you get to just enjoy it a little bit more.
Yeah, I completely agree with you. This year was the first year in like 5 or 10 years, I don't even know how many, that I didn't join, the Goodreads yearly challenge because I was like, you know what? That was just a lot of pressure and I want to enjoy reading more and I was not enjoying it as much in years past. So,
Yeah, I've heard from a lot more people this year about the burnout that they've had even with reading.
mhm.
And when to me, like, and that scares me a little bit because I would say reading like saved me from burnout in my last job. It was like my one thing that I was holding on to. And so to think about possibly burning out from that too because of created, manufactured numbers that we all are like told
Yeah.
we have to meet, I think is like, I mean, it's just really sad. But I've heard from a number of people who said that it was because of things. I'm not gonna say it was Goodreads or anything like that because I don't know for sure, but that people have said like they got burnt out from it just from. So I think we all need to take a step back and
Yeah.
and do it for the love of books and the love of reading and
Mhm.
everything that comes with that. Totally switching gears though.
Okay.
You'll never say no to a donut, which I think is my husband is the same way, and so I often am with him on those adventures. But what is your absolute favorite?
Oh, if you if you have a husband who loves donuts so much, then you should know not to ask that question. But I would have to say like I really love anything with lemon right now. Like I am a huge fan of lemon desserts. So lemon in a donut is just awesome. I'm also, because I have to say a second, I also really love cronuts as well. Croissant donuts, like they're so good. They're so
There's so
fluffy and oh my gosh. Yeah, I love those as well.
Oh, that is so good. Yeah, no, that's really fair. If I had to ask him to name a single donut, I think he would be quite upset about that. I could pinpoint one specific donut shop for him that he loves. Like there's one in particular, and I feel really bad because we no longer have access to that donut shop the way that we used to. So it's very sad. I used to travel a lot for work and I would always be near one of these donut shops and I would stop and I knew what his order was and I would come home with just a big box of donuts and it was like
Oh,
the one of the big perks for him of when I would travel was that
right.
I came bearing gifts in the form of donuts.
You are such a good wife.
Well, thank you. I was like, it's the least I can do. And
Uh-huh.
I always treated myself too. I had a favorite, so I always got my favorite, and then I could drive and eat that donut on the way back. So it all worked out. So kind of like I mentioned in your bio, you have love stories filled with magic from a young age. What have been some of your creative influences over the years, be it authors, films, experiences you've had? What's really inspired you?
Um, so I would say one book series in particular that I read, I think it was middle school I read it, was the Mediator series by Meg Cabot. I don't know if you've heard of that. It's a six
I
book long series.
Okay, I know Meg Cabot, but I
Yeah.
don't think I
I
read
think
that.
most people know Meg Cabot and they associate with her the Princess Diaries, but they don't know that she had another young adult series, actually a couple, but yeah, the Mediator series as well, and that was followed a girl who could see ghosts and speak with ghosts. And yeah, she like essentially tries to get them to move on a lot of the time, but a lot of the time they don't want to. Um, and there was also a kind of bit of a forbidden romance in there with this ghost who was living in her bedroom.
Oh, okay, intriguing. It sounds very Ghost Whisper-ish with Jennifer Love Hewitt. You're taking me back to like the days that I watched Charmed and the Ghost Whisperer.
Right, right. Yeah, I think it's all along those lines.
Oh, very good. I'm so disappointed I missed that one in my middle school and high school years because I feel like that would have been one that I would have gravitated toward and then probably not told anyone that I was reading it because I thought that I had to hide my love of fantasy at the time.
Gotcha.
We've come a long ways as readers, but at the time I was like I was like, no, I'm also reading The Click, everybody. Don't
Mhm.
worry.
Yeah, I did read that series as well. But I definitely love the Mediator series more. I want to say it holds up. I have reread it since middle school, but that was also several years ago now, so I can't say for sure if it still holds up. But I remember the main character was extremely sassy and a lot of fun. So,
Oh, I love a snarky female character. It makes me think a lot about your female main character too,
yeah.
who was so much fun. We'll talk about her. Well, kind of on a similar note, I mean, maybe it's talking to ghosts, but if you had a magical ability of some sort that's really open-ended, but what would it be?
Oh gosh, okay, so I would definitely have to choose shape shifting. I love any kind of story with shapeshifters in it. I find it so fascinating. Like the idea of just being able to change your form into anything, whether it's like actual changing into animals or even like objects. That'd be a little weird. I haven't read stories like that, but I might. Or just change your face in general. I find that like I think that lends itself to so many different possibilities for stories, and I love that.
Oh, that's such a good answer. I like hadn't even thought about that for any reason, even though that all makes total sense now. That is such a good answer. Well, I'm also very curious, kind of moving us in more to Drown a Witch. If you picked one song to pair with this book, what would you pick?
So I do actually have a whole playlist for this book and its sequel. So picking one is a little hard, but I think I would have to say that the song "Play with Fire" by Sam, I think Tenez is the last name. I think that really fits just Ness and the story in general. Even Torn a bit. Like he kind of knows he's playing with fire by involving Ness. So yeah, I think that fits both of them and the story pretty well.
Is your playlist on Spotify?
It is not. No.
Okay. So I was gonna say, so we can't view this whole playlist.
No, sorry. I do feel like some of the songs on there, like I said, lend themselves to the sequel and might lend themselves to a bit spoilers that I don't want to reveal yet. So,
Okay, very, very true. And we need to talk about that without, I'm going to do my very best to keep this entire episode spoiler free. That I am not here to spoil, but I will just say, like, the ending, and then some of your social media posts about it have been just so funny and so cute. And people being like, is there a second one?
yeah. I don't know why people keep asking that. Like, I guess the information isn't widespread yet, but yes, there is a second one. I would not be so cruel. So just cut it off there.
You're like, and that's it. That's the story.
Uh-huh.
Oh, okay. Well, before we get back to that and anything that you can tell us, we'll maybe wrap up a little bit with that. To Drown a Witch just released this month. When this episode comes out, it will have been last month. Can you please tell listeners what they can expect from this story?
Sure. Okay, so To Drown a Witch follows two main characters. You have two points of view, Ness and Torin. Ness is sort of a criminal of sorts living in the underbelly of the city. And her whole goal in the novel, or just in life in general, is to get her father out of prison. She made a deal with someone to do that, and that person didn't uphold their end of the bargain. Meanwhile, Torin works for the king, and he has been a little down on his luck, or a lot down on his luck, actually. And he's experienced a lot of loss lately, and he has kind of let that get to him and let his life go downhill. Um, so the king kind of comes to him and says, I can give you this second chance. We've heard that the witch is in the city, and we want you to hunt her down. And this is important because in this world, there is only ever one witch at a time. She's the only person born with magic inside of her. Everybody else, if they want to use magic, which they shouldn't because it's technically illegal, they have to harvest it and ingest it. But she just has the magic inside her. And everybody finds this dangerous because they believe that the reason the witch has magic inside her is that she stole it from the goddess. So everybody wants to hunt her down and kill her. And so Ness and Torin meet, and Torin discovers that Ness has this ability to smell magic. And he thinks that this is his luckiest day ever because with her, he can easily find the witch. But things don't always go according to plan and aren't that simple. And the witch is killing people throughout the city, and they're trying to get ahead of her. And yeah, so adventures ensue and some romance as well sprinkled in there.
A little bit of romance, a little bit of mystery.
Hmm.
Um, yeah, there are a lot of wonderful layers to it. Well, we were kind of talking about how surreal it is and incredible. What have been just some of the highlights from the conversations that you've had or the experiences you've had just within the past like week or two, I guess?
Yeah. So I had a launch event on the release day, and that was really wonderful. A local bookstore hosted me, and I got to have a partner in conversation, Chelsea Reed, and she was amazing. She was so nice to talk to and really easy to talk to. It was nice to not have to be up there alone in front of the crowd, even though most of the crowd were people I knew. But still, it was really nice to have somebody else up there. And it was a lot of fun actually talking with her and just talking with everybody who came. And it was so nice to see everyone so excited about the book and, signing books for the first time. Like, I was mind-boggling, I guess. There was a moment where I was like, what do I write in these books? Like, I feel like I need to write something. I can't just like sign my signature and pass it on. Like, I gotta send a message. Like, what do I put? And I never thought about that until I was sitting down. I was like, oh, what do other authors put in their books?
That's such a good point. I've never thought about that. And that is so, okay, note to self, note to anybody listening. That's a really
Right.
good point.
Think about these things ahead of time.
But totally natural that you did it. Because, yeah, I would be the same. I'd be like, oh my gosh, I haven't even given it a second thought. All I did was put the words in the book.
Right,
And
right.
now what? Oh my goodness. But also, well, that's incredible. It sounds like it was just very memorable and awesome to have so much support surrounding you, so much support and excitement surrounding you. I haven't been to many like launch events, but I do love going to author conversations in general. And it's always, even if I don't know the author, it's just so exciting to be in the crowd and to hear more about it. So I'm sure everybody really enjoyed because those are cool experiences, even as a just a participant.
Oh, I agree. I mean, I've been on the other side, so I love watching authors tell me about their book and everything like that too.
Very cool. Well, I would love to rewind a bit because I'm a big fan of getting the story behind the story. So, taking us back to the beginning, When did you start writing this? What sort of sparked the idea for To Drown a Witch and the world that you created?
Right. So I started writing To Drown a Witch in early 2019. And originally it was actually titled Welcome to the Witch Hunt. Which at the time when I titled it that, I was like, I don't really like this title. This is just a placeholder. But I never came up with anything better until like, I think it was maybe a year ago or so. Things talking with my editor, and we are like, okay, well, we like To Drown a Witch. What do you think about that? I'm like, oh, yeah, okay. That makes so much sense. That's great. Um, but the idea for this story came to me. I was in grad school, and we had a writing prompt session, and it wasn't really your typical writing prompt session where they just give you a prompt and say go. Instead, they gave us a poem to read and kind of analyze. And I don't remember what the poem is, can't find it anywhere in my notes, so I'm really sad about that. But I then looked at this poem and there was a line about trees in there. And from that line, I started writing what became the prologue for To Drown a Witch. So I finished that all in that day, same day, and that really didn't change much from then until now. And from there, it was just, I had to write this story um, about this witch, and just the details kind of started coming to me afterwards, and like the characters. Um, I was in grad school, so I was working with an advisor, and I was supposed to be writing a different book. And I came to the advisor and I was like, I can't write this other book. I have to write this fantasy book. I have to. Like, please tell me you'll work on this with me. And thankfully she said yes, but at the time she was like, I'm not really very familiar with fantasy, so like we're gonna have to learn together. I'm like, okay, that's fine by me, as long as you let me continue this story.
That's so sweet, though.
Yeah, I was really, really grateful to her and still am. So,
Oh, I bet have you talked to her since? Like, does she know that this book is
yes,
published? I'm
I
sure.
sent her a copy. So,
Oh, that's so, I bet that made her day. It made her like year, I'm sure. That's so
I hope so.
incredible. Okay, so you had this idea, you started working on it in 2019. What did your path to publishing look like then? I guess when did you sort of, I don't, did you get an agent, or what did your process look like?
Right. So yes, I got an agent, and that took several months, I believe, to a year, because I got a lot of rejections, and that's just par for the course. That's what happens. And but thankfully I did end up with my wonderful agent, and I adore her, and she's done so much for me, and I'm so glad I went with her. And from there, she put To Drown a Witch on submission to various editors and publishers. And that also took a long time. That was also a year or more even before we heard um, from my current editor that they were interested in purchasing the book. So it was a lot of waiting, but it was also exciting because all of it was still new to me. I didn't actually mind the waiting as much. Like I feel like most people would be pulling their hair out over how long they have to wait. But it was kind of what I expected. Like I had heard from other people that, yeah, it can take a while. Publishing is a very slow business, unfortunately. Um, but I mean, it worked out for me in the end, so I think that was good.
No, and I just appreciate you sharing that because it is the very real side of the industry that, well, I say anybody that listens to this show is probably familiar with, but not everybody fully understands, especially when it is like when you're newer to the world, newer to the publishing world, just how slow it can move, and that there is a lot of rejection that's often involved before that opportunity comes or presents itself, whatever it may be. So I think it's just really honest and a real look at what it takes. And that's refreshing and reassuring to hear that like you didn't have a lot of anxiety about it. You sort of knew what you were getting into to an extent. Because hopefully that can give other people like the same sort of mentality. And at the same time, like you're you obviously have like the perseverance and the dedication that you never feel like giving up on it either too, which I think that it takes a lot of that commitment to like your story and to your voice too. So sounds like you had a really healthy balance of it all.
I try to keep a healthy balance. Yeah. I was definitely dedicated to making this work, because it was and has always been my dream to publish a novel. So I knew one way or the other I was going to make it work, whether it was with this book or another book. And there actually was a point in time where I thought it was going to be with a different book. We had been on submission, and my agent came to me after a while and after several rejections and was like, hey, like I can send out another uh, grouping to editors, but it might be time to start considering putting this away in a drawer for a little while and working on something else. And I had actually warmed up to that idea and was willing to do that when my agent came to me and said that we had an offer. So you never know.
That is, that's amazing. That's so, well, I for one am so glad that it made it out into the world. I like can't imagine it not being there now. But wow, I can't even put words to like describe how that could have possibly felt in that moment.
It was a little like whiplash, honestly. It's like, wait. You're telling me somebody actually wants this book that I was just like, I prepared myself to be like, okay, we're gonna toss it away now.
Yeah, you're almost resigned, and so then to just pendulum swing in the total other
Right.
direction would be insane.
Yep.
Okay, well, oh gosh. I don't even like this next question, then I don't even know where you're gonna go with it. But looking back on it from start to today, what has been the biggest challenge? And then on the same front, like what has been the biggest pleasant surprise?
First, actually, I want to start with the surprise part.
Okay.
So I want to say the biggest surprise has been working alongside my publisher to get To Chidorana Witch out in the world. Honestly, so like I had said that like I had set my expectations on submission and when I was querying agents and stuff, because I had done a lot of research ahead of time to make sure I was familiar with the business of publishing. And as a debut author, a no-name debut author who really has no social media presence whatsoever, I fully expected the publisher to essentially just publish the book and move on and not really do anything for me. Um, but it was such a surprise when, like, they came to me and asked my opinions on the cover. They asked for brainstorming sessions with me about cover art and stuff, and just critiques along the way. And then, of course, I was over the moon when they told me they were going to do the sprayed edges. Like, I was so shocked and so ecstatic. So just all of that whole process was such a wonderful surprise that I'm just so grateful to have. And I think I owe a lot to my editor and the publishing team.
Oh, that's amazing. I'm so glad to hear that about your experience. I have to comment on the sprayed edges because I am a sucker for a sprayed edge and they are beautiful. Oh my goodness, so incredible.
Yeah, I agree. I'm very, very pleased with them. But okay, so you also asked about a challenge in the process. And I would say this is a little more recent, actually, I would say, as a challenge. Well, recent-ish. This was a year ago. So we have confirmed that there is a sequel to To Drown a Witch. Um, and so I was writing that last year and a bit of the year before as well. And even before To Drown a Witch was picked up by a publisher, I knew that I wanted more than just a single story. Um, and so I had like notes laying out different plot points and stuff to follow the story of To Drown a Witch. Um, so I had felt really prepared going into the second book. I was very wrong. I was not I was not nearly as prepared as I thought I was. I had a whole year to write the sequel, and I wrote 3 drafts in that time before I sent it to my agent. And my agent came back to me with lots of notes, but the biggest note of all, she goes, Lindsay, nothing happens in the middle of this book. And the middle of the book, mind you, was like at that point probably 100,000 words. She's like, nothing happens. Something needs to happen. I was like, oh, wow, you're absolutely right. How did I not see that? That's a huge problem. So, yeah, at that point, I had, I think, a month and a half before I was supposed to turn in a draft to my editor. And yeah, so I rewrote the entire book in that time, and that was the greatest challenge I have had in a long time writing wise. Yeah, I was averaging like 5,000 plus words a day, which is a very, very lot, at least for me. Maybe for some people it's not. It was a lot for me.
I mean, I don't have the exact statistics on it, but I think that's a lot for the majority of people. Um, wow. You would have needed a lot more than sleepy tea to
Oh,
to keep you going.
Mhm.
yeah, yeah.
Okay.
It was a lot.
Okay, but here you are, and you made it through,
I made it
which
through.
is, yes, but that is, which honestly, I mean, like, the fact that even in that you like never got discouraged about it too, and sorry, I'm like let me turn this around and make it so positive, which someone literally sent me yesterday, and they were like, do you ever know when you're just totally hating on someone and then someone just comes back and is like, but let me give you a positive about it, and I was like, and now here I am doing that, and I'm like, but you did it, like you made it through, and it's again, it's so true to like the dedication that you have to have for the craft to make it in this world and to make it in this business and to get your book out there and to have it be. I've talked with a couple of writers before who I think have struggled with their following drafts past draft one.
Mhm.
Um, and I'm always and they get feedback same, like they get feedback from an editor or an agent, and I feel like I encounter more this like resistance. The fact that you immediately were just like, yes, you're so right because you had this additional perspective. And that is again, it's very refreshing as someone who is so used to getting the resistance side of that. And then people, and I'm like, but don't you want it to be the best it can be?
Yes. So I agree with you. Yes, I want it to be the best it can be, but what I didn't say was, so I had said I did 3 drafts before sending it to my agent. Really, her feedback was exactly what I needed because I knew there was something wrong with it, and it was frustrating me to no end that I couldn't figure out how to fix this. So when she came in and was like, "You need more plot. There's nothing happening here," I was like, "Thank you."
That's what I mean, sometimes you just need another perspective on it, and because you're so in the weeds, you're so in the words that you like cannot see outside of it too. So, that's amazing again that you have such an incredible team and like you did it. So you can now accomplish anything.
I hope so. We'll see. I'm sure there'll be other challenges that arise.
I'm sure there's always something new, but hopefully you can always look back and be like, if I could write 5,000 words a day for a month and a half straight almost, then I can tackle this because that's a lot.
I probably wouldn't frame it that way. I'd be like, well, at least you're not writing 5,000 words a day.
There you go. Okay.
It works.
Either way, either way. Well, at the heart of the story are Ness and Torin, and I kind of mentioned this off the top, but not in these words, but I loved how confident she was. She's very loyal. Like you said, like her mission is to get her father out of prison, and she never veers from that goal. She is amazingly sarcastic, which I appreciate and just adds such levity to the story. And she's very resourceful too. What do you hope readers can ultimately take away from her character?
Um, so all of those things are positive and not to like be negative at all, but um I want to so like Ness is I to me Ness is the hero of the story. Um and yeah, she has all those great qualities that make readers love her, but she's not perfect. And I hope readers realize that. Like, she's actually a pretty selfish person, aside from the fact that, yeah, she's trying to get her father out of prison. I guess that's pretty unselfish. But aside from that, she's pretty selfish. Um, and I feel like that helps, at least in my mind, that helps make her a little more realistic.
Yeah.
Um, and I hope that with that being said, readers look at her and say, oh, yeah, like I love her as a character. Like I'm sure there's always been characters while reading, you're like, oh, I wish I was more like this person. But I hope readers look at this and also remember that, okay, she has all these great qualities, but she has some bad qualities too. She's not a great person in general. And like, maybe I don't necessarily want to be her. Maybe I'm better off the way I am as myself. And just kind of thinking about that in general. And like, you can fall in love with a character, but that doesn't necessarily mean that you would be friends with them in real life.
Probably not. I think you can fall in love with a character and still recognize and appreciate their flaws a
Hmm.
bit. And
Sometimes their
um,
flaws are the best part.
sometimes their flaws are the best part, completely. And but like you said, I think that the flaws are what can give us this fantastical world and make it feel very real or give you a connection point to a lot of the characters. And then too, I mean, maybe see like the flaws that you have personally, but hopefully not fixate on those and recognize that there are a lot of amazing qualities too.
Yeah,
Um, or in many cases, your flaws come from something, and I will leave it at like, or there's a reason
right,
behind a lot of it.
right. Or there's also, like, yeah, these characters are the heroes of the story, but they have the flaws, and you have flaws as well. Doesn't mean you can't be the hero of your own story.
Well said. Torin as well also has a few flaws if we want to talk about that, but he's a man who is deeply, deeply haunted by his past and is trying to navigate grief and a lot of unanswered questions surrounding his history. I guess between Ness and Torin and this world, maybe this is a multi-part question. What have you learned? What have these characters really taught you? And what have you learned about yourself bringing the story to life?
So with Torin, um, yeah, he has experienced a lot of grief, um, and he doesn't handle it in the best way. But also, it's hard to know the right way to handle grief, I think. And I think that has also, like, that has been something that I've thought about a lot while writing this book. And it's hard to handle your own grief, but it's also hard to recognize and handle someone else's grief. Um, so I think, I don't know, like you never know um like how that grief is affecting someone. Um, Even no matter what they tell you, there's probably still parts you're not seeing. Um, and
No,
I don't
that's
know what
so
I'm
it's so
saying.
true. No, you're making me think about, and I am stealing this from the internet, and I apologize, don't have credit to give to it, but I thought a lot about that too with Torrens history in particular, and I think we we never know how we ourselves are going to respond to grief until we're like presented with that, and often
Yeah.
can't see it in the midst of that. And it's really interesting to try to dissect that as a reader from someone else's story to understand it. But at the same time, you're empathizing with him. But what I was getting at is, and this extends beyond grief too, is like the thing I saw recently was, and I'm gonna butcher it. Let me try to like compose the words a little bit. It was something like, um, we love to, they didn't use the word judgment, but we love to pass judgment about someone's choices as if we understood their options. And that like really resonated with me. And I, as you were talking, I kind of thought a little bit about that too, because with Torrin specifically, as a reader, we certainly, well, not from the get-go, but you start to gain more context into why he is the way that he is, why he's behaving the way that he is. And yeah, I don't know. I just really thought about that. And I think there's something super impactful about even the way you tackled his story and where he's at in his journey with grief and how that evolves and develops. Um, was it a challenge? I mean, was that ever like emotional for you as a writer to really try to get into that headspace?
Um, I have to admit, I don't think it was. Torin was the easier character for me to write.
Really?
I don't know if I can't really say why that was. He was just a little softer, a little clearer from the start.
I wouldn't have guessed that, but that I think that that is not in a bad way. That's just really incredible. Um, what do you think you've learned about yourself in bringing the story to life?
I I mean, you keep talking about my like dedication and stuff, and yeah, like that's really nice to hear because I do think I have grown in that aspect. It's not just about like dedication and determination, but I had to like teach myself the discipline to continue with this and make sure and that I could achieve that dream that I wanted. So,
This isn't to put words in your mouth. I'm just thinking about it if it were me, but I feel like there is such this element of having to learn to like trust yourself. And because I feel like I would personally struggle with that if I tried. And, but the more I talk to you, and I was just talking with Joss Richard recently about her book, and that episode literally came out today. But in all of these conversations now, I'm like, there's this element of just having that I see everyone having to learn to trust themselves entirely.
yeah, I would definitely say it's that, or at least part of it is that you have to trust yourself that you can do this, that you can continue, that even if it doesn't feel right in the moment, that you'll move past that and find the right outcome.
Without spoiling anything, which scene would you say is your favorite? Either because in book one, obviously.
In book one. Okay.
Um, either either because you love to write it or you can't wait for readers to get to that point, and hopefully, and if it's going to be a spoiler, we'll keep it as vague as possible, but what's your favorite?
Okay, so aside from the epilogue, because the whole book, the whole time I was writing it, I was like, I can't wait to get there. I can't wait to get there. So aside from that, because no spoilers, I also love the meeting of Ness and Torrin. I think it's for the second time, where they meet inside the prison and they kind of butt heads. And Torrin proposes this deal to Ness, and she flat out refuses at first. And they just kind of quit back and forth. And I always had so much fun writing that scene. Um, so yeah, I would probably pick that as a close second for a favorite.
The banter was always fun. But the epilogue, I'm not gonna lie, I did kind of have like my jaw on the floor a little bit. Um, and which leads me to what can you share about the sequel?
Well, I can share that it's done. It's fully written.
It
So
exists, it's real.
yeah, it's real. Yeah, I did survive that month and a half writing 5,000 words, and we have done many edits since. It I think the only other thing I can say is that it delves more into the history of the world and the magic. And there's a lot of aspects of the magic that readers don't yet know, that become evident in book two.
Oh, I cannot wait. I'll be keeping an eye out for that for sure. And then it is just going to be a duet, right? It's going to be a
Yes.
duology. Okay. Very, oh my gosh. Well, I'll be anxiously awaiting that, but that's perfectly okay. In the meantime, do you have any other events coming up or other plans related to your launch?
I do have another event actually on August 7th. I think so that's the right date. It's a Friday. And it's at the Princeton Barnes& and Noble, and I'll be talking with a bookstagrammer and booktuber rather, and signing books and doing a Q&A. And yeah, it'll be at 6:30 at the Princeton Barnes& and Noble.
Oh, that's so fun. Those are so cool. I wish I was closer because I would love to be there. That would be amazing. Well, in the meantime, for other people too that like me are not close to that, but want to connect with you online, want to follow along, want to know as soon as you have details about book two, where can they connect with you?
I am most active on Instagram, and that's just Lindsey Olson author. I also have a website, lindseyolson.com, and there's a contact form on there if you want to shoot me an email. I'm happy to answer any of those questions that you have, except, of course, spoilers for the sequel, not giving those away. Yeah, and I also have Facebook as well, Lindsey Olson, and yeah, I think that's about it.
Oh no, are people literally asking you for spoilers about book
No,
two?
no, not yet. I just felt like I had
Okay.
to put that in there. Like, you can ask, but I'm not going to answer.
Okay, no, honestly, that was a great thing because I know a reader who she'll flat out tell you she's like, one, I don't read series until they're all completely out, and then she was like, and I spoil it for myself before I dive into it, and I was like, that's insane, that is crazy, and so then you said that, and I'm like, wait, are people actually doing that? But that's probably a good call. I mean, cover your bases because I think people would ask. Wow.
I
Well,
mean, if they get
you
to the
never
end
know.
of the book one, then I assume they have lots of questions.
Yeah, but to ask you for spoil, okay, so nobody asked for spoilers. Just be very excited and follow Lindsay so that you can know more about when book two is coming. And we will be sure to link to all of that in the podcast notes as well to make it easy. So just head there. Lindsay, thank you so much for the inside look at your debut and your journey to share this story with the world. The months that you spent even on book two working through what that will be. We will be awaiting the news about the sequel, and in the meantime, I am thrilled for readers to escape and uncover the mystery of the witch.
Thank you. Thank you so much for inviting me on your podcast. This was a lot of fun.
Of course, come back for book two if you'd like. Cheers. Thanks so much for listening. The Narratives and Nightcaps podcast is a production of The Craft Co. with intro music created by Remington Haynes.
Subscribe to the show on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, and YouTube. Follow at Narratives and Nightcaps on Instagram or visit our website, narrativesandnightcaps.com.
Sign up for our newsletter to always know what we're reading next, which authors are joining us on the show, and for extra bookish and beverage info.
Connect with our additional co-hosts, Jordan and Emily, as well.
You can find me on Instagram at Cozy Reads and Sips.
And you can find me on Instagram at books.bottles.
Cheers!
Cheers!